Yo, so today I got a great question from my longtime good friend, Jason Capital. He posted a comment in my request post on Instagram where I asked for your questions. Check out Jason Capital. Go to his YouTube channel. He's got some interviews with me on there as well. And I think you like some of his other stuff. But Jason goes on to ask, yo, Elliot, what was the most significant thing that you can remember learning from Osho? And so those of you guys who aren't familiar with Osho, he was an Indian mystic in the 1970s who created a lot of havoc with his wild ideas about sexuality, the body, energy, spirituality, things of that nature. And he has had a great impact on a lot of the things that I talk about and believe, in particular, that the mind and the body are one. That if you want to affect the mind, you want to have a calmer mind, you got to calm the body. But over the past few years, recent years, I've come to disagree with a lot of what Osho talks about. But nonetheless, he has had some profound impacts on the way I think about things. And today I want to talk about one idea in particular that I think is timely, poignant, is really associated with what's going on in the world right now. And he talks about the difference between revolution and rebellion. And of course, we got a lot of people out there talking about revolution right now. We got the riots, we got Black Lives Matter, people talking about revolution. Well, Osho wasn't all that keen on revolution. He was more inclined to tell his students to be rebellious, to be a rebel rather than a revolutionary. And I'm going to read from one of his books in a moment. But just my synopsis is that the difference between a revolutionary and a rebel is that a revolutionary is outward focused. He's focused on trying to change what's going on out there, right? So it's usually political, or it somehow affects laws, the government. It's about, if you even look at the word revolution, it's about getting rid of what's this, turning around and doing what's that. So it's basically it's about changing the world, right? Osho was more interested in teaching people to change themselves. He believed that if we changed from within, the world would change from without. And I'm in agreement with him on that. In terms of rebellion, it's really about checking out completely, saying that I'm not interested in what's going on either way, and I'm going to focus on developing myself, making myself a stronger version of myself rather than out there trying to march and charge and riot to create a so-called revolution. I think this would be a good approach for a lot of people out there that are hoping to see, quote unquote, change happen in the world. Focus home first, focus within first. As the individual changes, as the heart of the man changes, the world around him changes. This is absolutely 100% true and fundamental to seeing the change that we want to see in the world, right? So even Gandhi said, be the change that you want to be. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read from Osho real quick here and let this sink in, let this soak in. Osho says some really powerful things. And if you're upset about what's going on in the world right now and you think there needs to be some sort of revolution and you got to pick up your axes and your picks and your torches, you might want to think again. There are better tools, inner tools, ways of making yourself stronger by rejecting the order rather than fighting the order. So Osho goes on to say that revolution is no. So he's painting these as opposites, and rebellion is yes, right? So right away he comes out with the dichotomy. The yes, no represents male, female, light, dark. And so let's continue. Revolution is no, rebellion is yes. Revolution is negative, rebellion is positive. Revolution says no to all that is wrong and should not be. Rebellion says yes to all that is beautiful and good. Revolution is past-oriented. Rebellion is present-oriented. They are not synonyms. They're not the same. They're opposites. Revolution is destructive. Rebellion is creative. Revolution can never be feminine, receptive, yes-saying. That's impossible. But rebellion is always feminine, always receptive, always yes saying, you know? So in essence, say yes to what you love rather than no to what you don't want. This is like NLP 101. There are people that run towards what they love, run towards what they want, reach out, and then there are those that run away from what they don't want. What he's saying is, in a way, it's a bit more powerful because you get more done with less effort, running towards what you want rather than running away from what you don't want. So he says here, I'm talking about rebellion. I'm not talking about revolution. Revolution is political. Rebellion is spiritual. Revolution is of the crowd. Rebellion is of the individual. You can be a rebel and you don't need anyone else to be there with you. You can be a rebel alone. But you alone cannot be a revolutionary. You need a great organization. You will need a great army behind you. The problem is one of the most significant things to be understood, that when you fight with someone, you slowly become more like the enemy. It is bound to be so. It follows a certain natural course. If you have to fight with someone, you have to be like them. Otherwise, you'll not be able to fight with them. Choose your enemies very carefully. Friends can be chosen without much care. They don't affect you much, but enemies are very decisive. All revolutions fail because of the enemy. The enemy decides the whole thing. So once again, you know, if you're focused on the enemy, right? BLM focused on white people or the cops, the whole focus is outward. A lot of times these people, you know, and I'm not just talking about BLM, I'm even talking about like, you know, I think about like churchgoers, people who do so much for the community, they do so much for everybody out there, right? Trying to fix what's going on out there, that their homes are a freaking mess, right? You want change in the world, clean your home, clean your room, make your bed, right? Isn't that a Jordan Peterson? So you want to rebel against the outer chaos by coming in and creating order. And so that's the essence of it, that revolutions always end badly, because if you topple one order, you're going to need to create another order that ultimately, like revolutions, like the word revolution represents, is going to be it's going to be cyclical. You're going to get knocked off, and then another is going to be on top. Then you're going to get knocked off, and another is going to be on top. When you rebel, you step outside of that tornado. You step outside of that mess. You step into tranquility and personal responsibility and saying yes to the things that you love rather than the things that you hate. No to the things that you hate. So I hope that was helpful for you. Everybody watching this, my man JC, thank you for the question. And that's it, y'all. The world is in a crazy time right now. I don't think it is of anybody's benefit to fight for revolution. What I believe, in concordance with Osho, is to rebel. Turn away from what the media is telling you to do. Turn away from the ideologies that they're shoving down your throats. If you're triggered, feeling emotional about anything that's going on in the media right now, turn it off. Turn around, go home, grow strong, and the world around you will change. Done.